It happened exactly a week after that fruitless exchange. I hereby confirm today's close of business for the sinners. Thank you kindly. Starting now, you will all be given a maximum of 12 hours to partake in sleep and rest. The duration is subject to change. Have a good night. Faust gives the same instructions as always. In response, sinners groan and stretch like usual. Except this time, one sinner stuck out of that normalcy like a sore thumb. What now? Leave him be, Ishi. It's not the first time he's all grumpy like that, is it? And Heath, make sure to simmer down before you get in your room, okay? All that grumbling thunder in there keeps me awake, you know? Yeah, we saw Heathcliff's view. Yeah, it was like a storm coming. The sinner's room, their lodging, personal space, and cell reflect their state of mind, or so I've heard. Each room's floors, walls, and overall ambience are shaped after the sinner's personality, and the view through the window changes depending on their emotions and mental state. Oh, okay. So it's not just that. It could be any kind of memory. Though all I've seen were distant glimpses through the window, so I don't have all the details. The room Heathcliff enters would sometimes actually, rather frequently, emit withering and stormy sounds. Wuthering Heights. Okay. Shh. Usually he'd snap back with a "why should I?" or something like that, but he only clicked his tongue. I suppose he doesn't feel like arguing. Thanks to that, he stood in the corridor until all the sinners, save for Faust, went into their rooms, staring down the passage with a frown. Maybe he was relieving stress this way. Oh-ho. And that right there is where the incident began. Oi, what's with those doors down the aisle? Heathcliff pointed in the same exact direction I did a week ago, so the restricted area. Those doorways were beyond the no trespassing line, blocking the way. Heathcliff, I recommend against walking farther into the corridor than necessary. That sure makes it sound awful suspicious. There is nothing of which to be suspicious. You are better off listening to Faust. What, you keep treasures or some such in there? Faust's secretive attitude was enough to rouse his curiosity. Do not do it. You will regret your action. Got well emotional and gobby, Miss Cleverness. Cleverest. It's like you're actually hiding something in there. Oh! He sprinted into the dark before we could stop him. What in the... Just as I was about to ask Faust an obvious thing to be concerned over... Oh, is there like a monster in the back? Heathcliff's sharp scream echoed from the unlit area far into the corridor. I don't know, like there are, like back then when we watch cartoons and stuff, like in American television, there would be urban legends of something at the end of the bus or at the back of the bus, right? Like a person being stuck there forever, or like a monster that's eating children. That's why nobody sits at the back of the bus. Dante, now is the time to take my left hand and run with me. What? Huh? I won't be able to get him out in time on my own. I may be engulfed myself. If I don't act quickly. Oh my god. Before I could process what she meant, Faust ran off in the direction Heathcliff disappeared. Shikaroonies. Wait for me. Okay. As we crossed the line and proceeded deeper into the corridor, we came across three-way crossroads. I think I heard screams coming from the middle. However, without a moment's hesitation, Faust darted for the left aisle. But Faust, I know you're in a hurry, but are you sure this is the right way? I could have sworn I heard his voice coming from the center path. I know. Without elaborating further, Faust continued running. At another fork we encountered, Faust chose the right path. Right afterward, she entered the fifth door on the left side of that hallway. What is this? We're back? Right as I entered, another hall came into view. Its end was like a cliff. Heathcliff? Okay. Uh, to be more precise, I felt some kind of gravitational pull trying to get me to fall off to the end of the hallway. So Heathcliff probably fell there. Heathcliff! Then I saw him. He crawled towards us with all his might from the middle of the hall. Is something dragging him? As if he might fall the moment he lets go. Well, like gravity is dragging him. What? What the hell is all this? And this place? Even though I couldn't see much in the dark behind him, I definitely felt some presence in it. Faust, what's over there? Dante, I want you to hold the knob of this door tightly. Firmly grip my hand as well. Holding my hand securely, she gradually approaches Heathcliff. This hallway isn't tilted or anything. Why does it feel like we're hanging off a cliff? That is because we're in a corridor, obviously. Dante, don't let go. So, this was a singularity, right? The corridor. Reminding me to hold fast, Faust extended her other arm while holding her Zweihander. Heathcliff, grab this if you would. Are you mental? My hand'll get gashed if I try grabbing that giant plate. You'll much prefer deep wounds on your palms to what you can suffer down there. Oh my gosh. Baffled, Heathcliff looked at the sword and then the darkness behind him. Bugger. Dante, pull him up. Might and main. Got it. Right as we pulled Heathcliff up. No, I'm not sure if it's even right to say that we pulled him up, but nevertheless, Faust hoisted his unconscious body by the legs and started rushing, saying that we need to return the way we came. Following her lead, I supported his arms and trayed behind, keeping his head from dragging the floor. After burning some time, let's say that it is fortunate he wasn't lost in a deeper area. Dante, you will have to turn the clock. Heathcliff's gonna be okay, right? The psychological damage is likely to be severe. Our work will be encumbered if he loses his mind. I didn't have a choice. Good work back there, Dante. While it is unfortunate that we have lost a portion of our limited break time to this. Faust, just what's in there? Where does it lead? Can't you tell me at this point? I've seen that stuff now. It was only natural that I want to know what resides there and what was chasing Heathcliff. Moreover, why did it never show itself to us? And why did it vanish instead of chasing him away any further? Maybe that's Mephistopheles' true form? These questions were driving me crazy, but alas. As stated earlier, there are limits to what Faust can elaborate. Yep, I honestly didn't expect much. The corridor, UIF. She mentioned this before as well, so I was thinking that it might be like some sort of infinity kind of thing meaning, but tell me, Ryoshu. Ryoshu muttered with a cigarette in her mouth, walking past us both. She must have left her room while we were out on our rescue mission. However, Faust proceeded as if not a soul had just walked by, as if nothing was just said. Huh? You did prevent such a vacancy in the bus department. Wait. If Heathcliff fell, then he'd disappear forever. Or he'll be dead. Or he will be unlinked to Dante and the rest of the sinners. Huh. Though I wouldn't exactly call it a reward, I do suppose it isn't a bad idea to inform you of one thing. Ooh, let me hear it. The unexpected boon had me rubbing my hands together. Right, what will she tell me now? Oh, Dante likes the tea. Dante, when you traverse a road you have never walked before, what do you do? I mean, you use a map, obviously. That's right. Then, if you don't have a map, your brain will form images to serve as one. From there, on that map, there will be a starting point and a destination clearly marked. When you return from your trip, you will trace back through that way. It's so obvious, I don't need to verbally answer. I just nodded along. Hopefully, that makes it clear enough. Huh? This is why you should remember where you've started in the corridor, especially when you open the door. Flabbergasted by the abrupt end, I blurted. Now then, Faust has grown tired. Do take care. She walked through the door before I could say something, leaving me with a riddle. Huh. Of course, it would go like this. I sighed out of frustration, but not a breath of air is expelled from my pitiful clock. Still left powerless. All I can do is boot up this electronic notebook and piece together what little information I have collected. Oh, we have an addition. Theater. So, yeah, I haven't opened it up. Let's see. So we don't forget twice, right? Dante's notes. I'm not sure where to even start. I guess it's only natural, given that I can't tell how much I forgot to begin with. Maybe I'll start by making notes whenever I run into things I don't remember. Limbus Company. Wow. Okay. It's like a drop down. Oh, there's a lot actually. Okay. 420. 984. So the year is 984 and it's April 20. Is that what it means? Limbus Company, the place I work for. It's a name that should be most closely related to me, but it's also the hardest to describe for me, as they won't tell me anything. I didn't join this company of my own accord. At first, I thought the company's initiative was to find and retrieve the golden bows, but it only seems to be our department's goal, not the entire company's. 421. From what I can tell, each department has its own aims, and there's no common goal shared by all of them. It looks like the company has substantial backing. The company's support was never lacking whenever we got its help, though Rhodia seems to have a lot to say about the meals. Yeah, okay. Then the sinners. Sinners seems to be a term that refers to the 12 people on the LCB's bus with me. Based on conversations I overheard, they appear to have joined the company similar to how I did, but they've been nicknamed like they're bound here somehow. I asked Virgilius about the term, but he didn't give me a clear answer. Him and his, you'll see in due time. He shut down several questions with remarks like that. Looks like I have no other option here. I've got to write down whatever I learn. In the Divine Comedy, the levels of hell, they're divided into categories. The sinners there are not just lowly criminals, there are sinners there that study too much. Like, was it Galileo? Yeah, there were like layers of hell for people who don't necessarily commit crimes, but also distance themselves from socializing, let's say, for example. And when I read Akutagawa's Hell Screen, it was the same. The description there was that everybody is a sinner. The rich, the poor, the beautiful girls, the studious men, politicians, poets, artists. Yeah, just what I remember. Record 2, 423. Adding a couple new discoveries about the sinners. First, it looks like sinner is specifically used to refer to those who formed a contract with me that I had no choice of opting out of. It appears they're the only people I can bring back to life with my clock. Yeah, we were looking for the chain, right? What does the chain mean? Like, I mean, I personally was thinking, why chains? So they entered a contract, and I wonder how that happened. Like, how do you become a sinner? To be able to have multiple lives through Dante. So, yeah. Record 3. The sinners might be the ones who can resonate with the golden boughs we seek. When we approach one, it seems to reveal the fathoms of the sinner's ego, making us experience their past or peer into their psyche. Okay. The golden boughs. 426. Record 1. Small branch-shaped objects that emit a golden glow. Doesn't really feel like tree branches. My head gets these tingling sensations whenever I get close to one. Wow, vibration. Whatever these are, they certainly aren't our ordinary gilded twigs that we're made to go after. The LCB. I said this. I didn't know what LCB means, and it really is what it means. Limbus Company bus. Okay. Its name comes from the fact we're on a bus. Feels like they didn't put a lot of thought into the name, but the other departments aren't that far ahead in terms of sophistication. Like cleanup, like Sod and Effie's department, right? LCC. The team includes people like me and the ones called sinners. We're sitting back behind. Still not used to this word. The purpose is to retrieve things called golden boughs from the underground facilities of lobotomy, or whatever L Corp stood for. Don't know what the golden boughs are, but from the sound of it, some physical objects shaped like tree branches. We'll make a separate note when I learn more. Limbus Company clearance. Yes, its name comes from the fact that they clear things up and out. It was formed to aid the bus team's work. Unlike the sinners, I can't revive them with my powers, which explains the care they put into their gear and equipment. The department seems to be split into two teams. Before team, LCCB, before, handles scouting and preparation work, while the after team, LCCA, handles gathering and cleaning up what we've done. I haven't met them yet, but teams seem to be divided into several sections, if Virgilius's phone calls are anything to go by. Met with Effie and Sod from preliminary observation of the before team. I asked them a few questions when I had a time. I'll try to write down what I learned. I also wanted to ask what they do, but the session got interrupted by Don Quixote suddenly causing a scene. Effie sighed that preliminary observation pays the least out of all before team subsections. Judging from what I heard about the department having far more staff than the others, they might be treated as expendables. When I said Limbus Company just lost two of its best workers. Okay, the nests. Record 1, 421. Seems to be a term that refers to urban centers in the city. The city is divided into multiple sections, and each of them comprises a nest and a backstreets portion. A nest is basically under the management and protection of a conglomerate called a wing, while the backstreets aren't too big of an influence, I think. Asked Virgilius if I came from a nest or the backstreets, but he ignored me. That is a good question, actually, right? But he said Dante was someone important, so he's probably been recruited to a nest. I would think of that. K-Corp. Located in District 11's nest, as evidenced by our nightmarish battle at the checkpoint, K-Corp's singularity seems to give the user the capability to continuously heal or regenerate, rather, their body. Faust called it telepoiesis, but it seems to be more commonly referred to as HP bullets or ampules by regular denizens of the city. Thanks to that, all the sinners died, and I almost fainted, bearing 12 people's worth of pain at once. But those HP ampules did also help restore my melted lower half to perfectly good health. Yeah. I've only tried an ampule once in my life, and that was the most horrifying injection I have ever experienced. It was so painful, so numbing as well. I'm used to having needles stuck to me for blood work and all that, but that one was intramuscular, so not the veins. I don't want to go through that again. K-Corp seems to be utilizing this technology for a number of industries. Record 2. According to Samjo, an employee we met at Unbong's, the wing might also be developing food-related tech using the singularity. Yeah, where was that? This. Please rest assured that all meat used at Unbong's is not derived from K-Corp's singularity. So this one is fresh. HP singularity from K-Corp is not fresh, I guess. 423. Full name, Lobotomy Corporation, Record 1. Its nest was in District 12. Oh, Katniss Everdeen. A fallen wing. Its spot currently vacant. It was apparently the epicenter of a city-wide event called White Days and Dark Nights, which everyone seems to know. Except for me, or that would be the amnesia. The facilities we searched through for the Golden Bows all once belonged to this now defunct L-Corp. How long has it been? How many years has it been since the White Nights and Dark Days? District 12 just reminds me of Hunger Games. N-Corp. Wow. Record 1. Nagel and Hammer. Located in District 14's nest. Okay. Nagel obviously means nail. Having spoken with Merso, apparently there are two factions under the names of Nail and Hammer. According to him, the ironclad inquisitors we faced weren't nearly as prevalent when he worked for the wing, and they weren't the majority faction during his time there. So like this one started out probably like a new faction that they developed in order to harness experience, because some of you guys commented that N-Corp is dealing or commercializing experience for public consumption. So, Sinclair also said they weren't, waving their hammer and nails all around before. Unlike the group led by Cromer, N-Corp as a whole doesn't appear too different from other big companies or corporations outside some rigidness. Record 2. Not sure what its main business is, but some sinners seem to know a couple of things about the wing. If only they'd speak to me at all about it. Having an amnesiac character as a protagonist really makes it all the more exciting to find out what it all means in the end. The Wings. 421. The Wings, Record 1, 421. Companies with the most advanced and influential technology in their districts, practically ruling over them. Supposedly, they're corporate entities, but the more I hear about the Wings, the more they sound like governing bodies. Come to think of it, Limbus Company doesn't seem to fit the conventional idea of a company either. We're on a bus all the time, for one. Each wing has trademarked technologies called singularities, and uses these funds earned from them and ridiculous taxes to manage the high-class urban area inside its district, known as the Nest. People who work for a wing seem to be nicknamed Feathers. I think I've encountered this explanation before, I just forgot. Okay. Syndicates. Record 1, 423. Seems to be what they call all kinds of gangs and organizations in the city. The term covers such a wide range of things. You can call pretty much any group of people together under a name. The associations. Record 1, 427. Seems to refer to the large organizations that manage fixers. Each association appears to have a specific field it specializes in, to account for how free and open a fixer's line of work usually can be. There's a pretty wide variety. I've seen a few associations through the identities of sinners and their mirror worlds. One major difference from freelance fixers is that they can't choose the jobs they want to take. The back streets. Record 1, 423. Areas of a district not included in the nest outside of the wing's domain. Their residents are mostly people who can't afford to live in the nest. Each area is stacked with the restaurants, local businesses, living quarters, schools, academies, and a variety of other facilities. As the name suggests, though, the roads tend to be twisted and intertwined, and there's a constant air of dampness wherever you go. Fun thing I've noticed is that the boundaries between these back streets and the nests were clearly drawn in every district I've visited, though I've only been to like 3 of them. Yeah, there's borders. Okay. The Blade lineage. Yeah, we saw these identities like the Blade lineage. Record 1, 425. A syndicate of sword-wielding ruffians and libertines roaming the back streets. Guessing from conversations with the sinners who wore such identities, they don't seem to act or move in groups, much despite belonging to a syndicate. To be more precise, they do have temporary company from time to time, but there's no strict subgroups or pecking order. It's unfortunate that half of their answers were taking the piss, so I am unable to write proper answers here. Okay. The Kurokumo clan. If this is from a Japanese thing, then this means the Kurokumo clan. Record 1, 425. A giant syndicate spread deep and wide across the back streets. They seem to be characterized by long, single-edged swords, with sheaths and dark, wavy clothes. They basically earn their keep by taking protection fees from backstreet businesses under the pretext of offering safety. Oh, bodyguard types. From what I heard from the identities, they seem to be in some kind of conflict with other syndicate called the Blade lineage. Okay, I didn't get to hear the reason. They follow some sort of hierarchy, and henchmen are generally forbidden from disobeying their superiors. Like Yakuza, right? There do seem to be special exceptions if Honglu is to be believed. Record 1, 424. From turning rudimentary cogs to overlaying an alternative identity via a mirror, the city has every level of technology. You know, it's nice that they get identities out using a mirror, because it's just a reflection. Like they say, every time you look into a mirror, it's a different reflection, because not all mirrors are the same, made the same way. Identities. Okay. Record 1, 424. An invention that overlays a person's identity with a different possibility from numerous other worlds. Yisang was one of its okay. But he always blabbers things that I can't wrap my head around whenever I ask, so I don't expect to get any useful down-to-earth info from him. The identities themselves are found via the engine of Mephistopheles. Oh. Not sure how it works, but it looks like you can't just find and grab the identities you want. Trial and error can sometimes stumble upon previously seen versions of the sinners too. Yeah, so it's this one, right? Yeah, so for example, if we choose to pull, we're deriving it from Mephi's engines. How did you do this, Faust? Record 2. Record 2, 425. Although I can't write how exactly those identities are used in full, attempting to makes me unsure how. Synchronizing the extracted identity with my LCB PDA and the bus window allowed me to communicate or feel it in a way, calling forth the image of the identity. In my mind, I get a sense of understanding, as if I'm talking to the sinner like usual. Dante, you're playing a gacha game. And then manifesting the identity that you want, or the EGO that you want. Have you made a prayer circle, Dante? Have you chanted whatever ritual that you had to do in order to get the identity that you want? And once the sinner I make an unspoken agreement, the identity overrides the sinner. accompanied by the sound of glass shattering. Can't think of a more suitable description. Imagine your phone cracks. You summon, your phone screen cracks. You know, the way they explain this, it feels like Dante is just a regular gacha player. While overlaid with an identity, the sinner appears pretty different from usual. On top of attires and weapons, their personalities can also change pretty wildly, and sometimes makes me question if they're really the sinners I know. Fortunately, they seem to go back to their original selves when they're done using an identity, but prolonged use might cause small side effects like residual traces of the identity's personality surfacing from time to time. Oh, that's very interesting. I love that the gacha game has a purpose in the narrative that is so clever, that is so good. You don't see that in gacha games all the time. And I'm not exactly a big gacha game fan. I choose the gachas that I play, but with the ones I play, this is the first time I've seen it, actually. It's like, why do you pull? To have characters, okay, that's fine. But why do you pull? Exactly. So the roots of the gacha game or the gacha mechanics for Limbus Company really is part of the narrative. And that is wonderful. Okay, let's go back to Syndicates first. We have... what? We're not done here yet. Shi. Okay. The Shi Association, 427. They seem to specialize in assassination requests. They seem to specialize in assassination requests. Should take note that it doesn't exactly mean they're the only fixers who ever take assassination jobs. To start, requesting an associate fixer is gonna cost a fortune. Plus, the demand for assassination is awfully high in the city. So even unknown offices on obscure streets seem to get those requests pretty often. Fixers. Record 1, 426. Sort of freelancers who take care of or help with various jobs and requests in the city. They don't work for free, of course. The whole society seems to be based around money. But I don't think I can say for sure that there are absolutely no fixers willing to do charity work, I guess. The ones I've seen and heard were from all walks of life, too. Too diverse for me to neatly summarize. If talking with mirrored identities counts, too, maybe it's a common career. Yeah, a lot of people dream to be fixers, I guess, especially Dawn. Record 2, 427. Apparently, you can't be a fixer just cause you want to. Some fixer-related identities told me that there are tests you need to pass to earn a license. Looks like fixers are graded with the number 9 being the lowest and 1 being the highest. There's also a special grade called being a color. Virgilius appears to be one. He has the moniker of the Red Gaze. He's supposedly pretty skilled and famous. Yeah. Okay, we've known these. Some of the comments in my other videos explained these, and that got me to understand more about Virgilius as well. Wow, that was really good. We read Dante's notes the other day. The sinners seem to experience a kind of dizziness when they get near this thing. I hear it's called resonating, and it might be similar to how I get headaches. Once we return with a bow, Virgilius calls people from the other department to take care of it. When I asked him about this, he just said it's submitted to headquarters. Like, I wouldn't think that they would be keeping the bow, right? Because somebody's after them too. So once it's with Limbus Company, it's more secured. Okay, we have the nests. L Corp. Name of the L Corp that existed in the past. It was an energy provider. It transported abnormalities like those we've encountered to facilities in their eggy forms and managed them and managed them in containment units to produce energy in the form of enkephalin. I'm told it once supplied energy to many other companies and wings, pretty much all over the city, basically, so it must have been a pretty weighty enterprise. Then one day, a fierce ray of light shot out of the headquarters, and the company went under just like that. Oh, okay. I even heard that after the company was gone, some tower thing appeared in its place, and then disappeared sometime after. The wing's spot is still vacant as I write this, which apparently has the whole district in chaos. With its headquarters gone, the branch facilities around the city all shut down and were buried underground. Yeah, that was to keep the abnormalities there as well, right? So L Corp is in District 12. Fixers. We have another entry. Offices. Oh, term that encompasses all the corporate bodies that are founded by fixers. There seems to be some sort of rule that requires fixers to be part of an authorized organization of any kind if they want to work. Setting up a one-person office is apparently an option. Okay, so it looks like there's a pretty wide variety of offices. Thinking back on the time we were in the back streets of District 4, and the office Yuri and Aya belonged to might have been the most common type, yeah. Anyways, I can say fixers' offices and associations are entities that handle requests for a prize. Okay. Associations, cities, a sank. Okay, sank means 5, right? Merso? They seem to specialize in single combat and dueling requests. Oh, nice. Though it doesn't happen often, I hear there are still cases of people trying to settle disputes with a fair and honorable duel. So we are going to get Sank Association identities very soon. That would be nice. When a person gets involved in a duel or has to challenge someone to it and figures their opponents will clearly tear them a new airway, they send this association a request. Sounds like they stand in for the client or something. Oh, like a proxy. If they don't want to die, you go fight. All I know about this association comes from what I heard from the 7 association identities, so I couldn't learn much. So 7, like, who was there? Ryoshu, there was Isang, and Otis, right? Yeah, I think that was 7. Okay, since the association doesn't get requests too often, it seems to be in charge of holding joint conferences and events with other associations as well. Liu Association, this is my favorite. Liu is my utter favorite. I love it, like the burn identities. They seem to specialize in combat requests that involve groups of people, although new fixers in the city go with their lives without once ever embroiling themselves in battle. Quoted from Donkey. The Liu Association seems to be unique that in that each individual member is equipped to deal with multiple foes at once. So we have Honglu, Merso, and Gregor identities. And I love them. They are my favorite. Because I especially love hand-to-hand combat. So the fire there is a really nice addition. Record 2. According to Don Quixote, discerning the two may yet be a task too daunting for novice aficionados. While the Sang Association covers one-on-one situations like duels, the Liu Association handles engagements between multiple combatants. Come to think of it, most of those identities did seem to value cooperation and coordination over individual action. They also looked rather carefree, too. I haven't read the identities yet, actually. Gregor's Liu Association identity also told me that it was common for him to take up on groups of 5 or 6 at once. He didn't forget to probably mention that he'd whooped those kids. Heinies. Okay. Record, yeah, so I've read Gregor's, but not the other ones. Record 3. Another thing of note is the incendiary devices built into their weapons. Yeah. When I asked why they use fire-starting weaponry, they gave me answers like harmony or flow. But those honestly felt like roundabout remarks in my opinion. It's probably because fire is effective as a means to strike foes around the target. Flames can spread, after all. And most people would find flames very painful, right? You know, fire can work as a shield and as a weapon. I still don't think I can exactly define what an abnormality is. So far, the ones I've encountered for now, anyway, usually had an appearance unlike any human or animal and possessed extraordinary powers. They're beings you'd only expect to see in abnormal fantasies, both in terms of what they look like and what they can do. When I tried asking Faust, she'd kept saying abnormalities are entities of their own category. You shouldn't attempt to define them based on any preconceived standards, and refused to give a more detailed answer. Well, I guess that's true. The old L Corp used to classify abnormalities into 5 levels. Yuri told us that L Corp graded them based on their energy production. Limbus Company seems to use the same levels to categorize them. Like, yes, right? Like, the Hebrew alphabet, what was the first? From level Zayin until Aleph, I guess. So was that 5? Zayin, Teth, He, Wow, and Aleph. Yes. EGO. Shorthand for extermination of geometrical organ. Okay, IDK what this means. I love that Dante uses like these short, internet acronyms and stuff. Seems to be a byproduct of the encephalon generation once done by the now collapsed L Corp. Reports say the wing originally produced weapons and equipment out of the EGO for its employees to use, which doesn't really seem to match what I've seen of it. We know this by the gameplay of Lob Corp. Record 2. The EGO or sinner's use appears to work by the user making the emotions or self-identity of the abnormality their own, although I haven't experienced it myself. Yes. I've heard a few times that it feels similar to being influenced by someone else's thoughts and reflecting it to life, walking as if in their shoes. However, if you don't stop at just being convinced and get deeply engrossed in that other sense of self, you'll be taken over by what's carrying it. That killed the sinners a good few times and it hurt me like hell. The use of the EGO, and then if you overuse it and lower the SP, so you are corroded or you will experience corrosion. Okay. And Kefalin seems to be what the glowing green fuel originally produced by Lobotomy Corporation is called. Mephistopheles has a device converting humans into enkephalin built into it. Yeah, Mephi is a carnivore. And the green liquid filling up the tube seemed to be just that. Enkephalin can also be stored in containers of our choice for easier transport, boxes and modules being the 2 vital examples. Okay. Record 2. L Corp's logo can still be seen from the bottom of enkephalin boxes, which probably means the wings use them as well. Reading the warning on the side, ingesting it apparently has hallucinogenic effects. Who would think to do that? That's Zach. Some employees in Lobotomy Corp did that, we know that, and then, identities, we've, read these. Singularities, okay. Simply put, some kind of incredible technology owned by the wings. I was curious how they're different from the other technologies in the city. I guess it's the fact that singularities are monopolized by the wings that own them. Another thing of note is that they almost seem to be outside the realm of logic or classical physics. Faust says it's unnecessary to bother thinking about the intricacies in my current state, but I don't think you can brush off flesh regrowing from a severed arm, or stickers that boost your luck as such things that just work that way. Wait, is my head a singularity too? Right? I think there were two mentions of this already. Like even Hopkins said that it might be a singularity. Huh. Thread. A strangely shaped object is inside, kinda like a bulb-like thing. I don't know how I should describe it. It sometimes wiggles and twitches. Staring into this glimmering thread makes me feel rather woozy. Faust wouldn't let me hold it in my hands for long. So I put it back in place and let her explain what it is. In summary, all sorts of possibilities woven into spindles of thread or something like that. To be frank, I can't really recall this as summary when I just wrote down what Faust said almost word for word. I couldn't understand what she meant exactly. It gives me a similar feeling to looking up at the star that appears when I wind the clock. Sort of like, So thread. I wonder if, like, there's a 3 fates in the underworld. And it's like, if you cut the thread, you'll die. But a bulb-like thing. Okay, so we have covered, yes, the new ones and probably the old ones that I haven't read yet. It's pretty substantial. And they explained everything. Yeah. So I look forward to more of Dante's notes.